Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of our podcast at Pemberley Realty. My name is Roxanne Gavari with Pemberley Realty, along with my partner, Santiago Guerin. And we have a rock star of a guest today. Really excited to have her. She's an amazing sales VP at TICOR Escrow Services. Welcome, Tracy Hassey.
Well, thank you, Roxanne and Santi. I am so honored to be here with amongst fellow rock stars in the industry. You as a broker running the show at Pemberley, and Santi right there at your side helping you do so.
Absolutely. And we're really happy to have you because you are one of our amazing partners and support providers. So thank you so much for being here. And let's first start with talking about escrow. Because escrow is a service that's unique to. I don't want to say unique to California because some other states also have services provided through escrow or transactions that go through escrow, but not everybody does that. I know for the majority of the East Coasters, they do not have escrow companies. They basically manage everything through attorneys, and that's not how we do it here in California. So Tracy, if you are there, maybe you can tell us a little bit about what escrows are and how they operate, and then we can go from there. Tracy. So I know that Tracy is having some technical issues, so we will wait until she's able to resolve her technical issues and
There she
join us
goes.
again. There we go.
Hello?
All
There we go.
right. Yes, you're here.
For
So
some
good.
reason, I can't hear you. Oh no, tech difficulties. Can you
So
hear me?
we can hear you just fine. Yes. Okay.
Let's see
So
here.
so
Okay,
Tracy,
let's see here. What can we do?
what you can do is you can
Mic is muted.
go
Okay,
out.
unmute.
Uh-huh.
Let's see here.
All right. So while you are
Sign
having
language.
so
Let's see.
Santi, let's try to get Tracy back in there. And
Okay.
then in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and explain what escrow means with our audience until you guys get those technical difficulties resolved and get Tracy back in there.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
So difference between escrows and difference between escrows and working with attorneys. Essentially, what happens with how we operate here in California is we have everybody go through escrows. We use escrow companies, which are essentially a neutral party that have the job of transferring the title and the money between the buyer and the seller. Now, so the way that works is we do everything through paperwork, which in my opinion makes things a lot easier because the buyer and seller, like on the East Coast, don't actually have to go to a closing and have to sit around the table and physically hand everything over in terms of handing the title and the money between the two parties at a closing ceremony. What we do here is we have all the paperwork, and along with the paperwork, we transfer the title and transfer the money through an escrow company who's a neutral party that does all of that. All right, Santi, were you able to help get Tracy back?
Yeah, she's logging out and logging back in.
Logging back in. So
Yeah.
once we have her back, then we can have her join us. Okay, so let's talk about escrow services. Let's talk about some of the new rules that are coming. What's your experience working with escrow companies?
I mean, escrow, helps in a lot of ways. I feel, it helps, facilitate the transactions on, getting things done and handling all the paperwork.
Mhm.
It makes your life a lot easier, when you have someone that's like telling you, we're missing this from this person or we need this from there. Um, it just makes it easier, and it makes it a little bit easier with negotiating too, because you have that middleman there that's helping out, and with whatever that you need during the transaction, they can give you a good hand. So very well.
All right, let's see now. Let's see if we can have Tracy back. All right.
Okay,
Okay.
you can hear me?
Yes,
Yes,
we
we can.
can. Yes,
How
we
so?
can.
I swear the most random things happen, right? It was like black screen and then no sound. So what did I miss?
Okay, so we explained to our audience what an escrow company is and how we are different here in on the West Coast, pretty much doing things differently than they do it on the East Coast, where there are no escrow services and everything is done through attorneys rather than through escrow companies. And we were mentioning that we like it better this way because things are a lot easier. Um, Things are a lot easier in terms of the smoothness of how everything goes. But I do think that we do more in terms of the agent here on the East Coast than what the agent does on the West Coast versus what escrow companies do and what lawyers do on the East Coast. But this is just what I've heard from the agents that operate on the East Coast. So,
Yeah.
and also clients that have bought and sold here on the West Coast versus clients that have bought and sold on the West Coast, on the East Coast. So maybe you can, maybe you know more about that, and then of course go into the services specifically that TICOR provides. Go into your experience working in the industry for as long as you have. So take it away, Tracy.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much. And I kind of think of Southern California as the wild, wild west when it comes to escrow because you've got a number of different ways that escrow is accessed. So, for example, there's independent escrow companies, there are broker owned escrow companies, all the big brokerages, Compass, Berkshire Hathaway, Sotheby's, they all have an in-house escrow service. And how that got passed, I don't know, because is that truly a neutral third party? Because what is the definition of escrow? It is a neutral third party. There are also
Good point.
JV agreements set up with big teams. I mean, it is all over the map. And then you have title and escrow. And title and escrow is governed by the Department of Insurance, whereas the independents and these independent JVs, they're governed by the DFPI, Department of Financial Protection and Innovation. But, at the end of the day, really, it's the biggest risk in real estate today isn't the market, it's exposure during escrow. And that's really, it's not just paperwork and somebody in an office getting paperwork done. This is where escrow really is mission critical to your transaction, and it's where risk mitigation begins. Wouldn't you agree, Roxanne? Because that's when the contract is signed, both parties, the seller and the buyer, the buyer's agent, listing agent, you're agreeing to the specifics to bring that deal to closure and
Yeah,
pass the keys over, right?
yeah, exactly.
And so really when it comes down to it, it's all about working with the agents, working with you and the buyers and sellers, because we want to close deals with precision, protection, and zero surprises, because it is strategy. When it comes to escrow, it is strategy. And while the escrow officers are a neutral third party, like we can't tell you how to negotiate, or tell the buyers or sellers how to negotiate. The escrow officers, I'm not an escrow officer, I'm sales and business development, but I hear all the stories. And what is critical is working with an escrow company that really protects you, because right now in the industry with wire fraud, cybercrime, AI, let me tell you, those fraudsters are getting smarter and smarter every day. So what does that mean? We have to get smarter and smarter every day to mitigate people getting hacked, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, it's scary. And many people think, oh, I remember getting together with an agent and sharing with him some insights, which I'm going to share here. But he just was like, oh, I'm never going to get hacked. 6 months later, he got a phone call. His clients got hacked to a tune of $600,000. He said it was the scariest phone call I ever got. And but one thing I want to touch in before I get into those stories, there is a thing called FinCEN, the FinCEN update. And that's been a big thing in our industry. And for those of you that maybe aren't familiar, it's really, FinCEN reporting has been a huge thing in regards to anti-money laundering. And last year, the government proposed this extra step, which is like many, many questions for buyers, cash buyers with entities or trusts. And Fidelity National Financial, who owns TICOR Escrow Services, we're a Fortune 300 company, and this is a huge reason why I'm here, coupled with the people, because the leadership and the people are amazing, like you guys. It's all about the people at the end of the day. But they actually, FNF, Fidelity National Financial, actually fought the government. They made a lawsuit against the government for government overreach, because it was like, they're already getting so much information. Now you want more and just the details in order to really implement this. So what that did delay things for about 6 months, because it was supposed to be implemented last year, like September 1st. It got delayed to March 1st. Well, as of, let me just read something here for you. So this is really important information regarding the anti-money laundering regulations for residential real estate transfers rule, because really the onus falls on escrow to gather this information, and there are big fines involved if they didn't get every detail. So on March 19th, 2026, the U.S. District Court for Eastern District of Texas issued a decision in the Flowers Title Company LLC versus Basent, vacating the RRE. The court held that FinCEN lacked statutory authority under the Bank Secrecy Act to impose the RRE and ordered it vacated. Now, FinCEN may challenge this decision in the courts and seek to have the RRE reinstated. So on March 20th, and this is just the recap because it's super important for everybody to understand this, FinCEN issued this statement: in light of federal court decision, reporting persons are not currently required to file real estate reports with FinCEN, and are not subject to liability if they fail to do so while the order remains in force. So that has been huge in the industry, and everybody's like doing the happy dance, celebrating that this is shelved for now and hopefully hopefully forever, right?
So you mean that that FinCEN rules have been pulled back? Is that what you mean?
The new rules that they were implementing on March 1st, which was for cash buyers, whether an entity or a trust, had to fill out additional paperwork, and they're charged an additional fee because it's laborious for the escrow teams to get all this information and make sure everything is covered.
Of course.
Right. So, so less paper. So at the end of the day, escrow remains the gatekeeper of compliance and protection. So as you know, you're a smart, strategic agent. You stay ahead of the game and not reactive. And so that's really what this is all about. So isn't that interesting? We're so happy.
It's interesting that you bring this up, because we did have some education
Training?
about the FinCEN rules,
Okay.
and they were laborious. They did sound like they were laborious, and from our point of view, we were thinking, thank goodness that the onus for policing all of this is on the escrow companies and not on the agents, because they did sound like, a lot of work, and uh, a lot of work that would create a lot of tension between the client and the service provider. So
Yes,
we were,
exactly.
yeah, we were actually saying, oh, thank goodness that it's not on us, and you poor escrow people would have to do that.
Exactly. Our escrow officers are so relieved. But, we'll see what happens, cross our fingers and our toes. There's so much behind the scenes to this. So I thought that was important. But also, what's really critical, as we were talking about, is my number one question is, how are you safeguarding your transactions from cyber fraud, right? Because it is
Mhm.
a big deal. It's happening every day. And I think it's always great to share stories. Two things that are happening, Roxanne, that we're seeing in escrow, and it's been going on for a long time, but it's almost becoming even increasing because of, like I said, the fraudsters are getting smarter every day. So we're getting smarter. And that's a huge reason why I'm at TICOR Escrow Services, because I am out there saying we're a Fortune 313 company. We have the financial strength to take care of our people. I can sleep very good at night, because what is happening truly in the industry, um, in Southern California, and I've heard of a number of companies, I won't say names, but they have actually closed their doors,
Mm,
because of getting hacked.
mm.
And there's been companies that in-house or brokerages that wanted to bring escrow in-house, and then when they realized the liability and what really is involved behind the scenes to really protect them, they're like, forget about it. We're not going to do it.
So let's talk about that, because it's important for everybody to understand that escrow is the neutral party, but they are the party that transfers the money between the buyer and the seller. So in that process, they are the gatekeeper of all the money that's being transferred, and that's why the hacking, that's why they look so delicious to the hackers.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. And I mean, we're working with the lender, we're working with title, so money is being transferred around. So let me share two stories what's happening. The biggest thing that I want to share is what the hackers are doing. They are sending your clients, the buyer, like an email saying, "Hey, we're closing escrow early. Wire your money today to this account." Well, that right there is a red flag, because never in a million years would we send an email with an account.
Hmm.
There is always multi-factor authentication to even access that money, or that account where you need to wire your money, right? And so
Plus
quick, go ahead.
plus on this, to go old school and actually call and talk to the escrow officer that
And
you're working
yes,
with,
a hundred,
with the person, not with the bot, with the actual person, not their bot agent, right?
yes,
To make sure
yes.
that the where you're sending the money to is the right place.
Is the right place. Yes. And so my nephew, he just got married, and he and his wife bought a house in Oceanside. Well, as they were going through the process, they were the buy side. They weren't able to pick escrow. The listing agent had already selected services. So I educated Max, and I said, Max, here's what you want to make sure you do. Just be aware the hackers are out there. If you get an email saying what I just said, wire your money to this account, and there's no multi-factor authentication, you've been hacked. Call your escrow company immediately. Well, long story short, I said, just double check and call escrow, and do they have multi-factor authentication? He said, yes. I said, okay, hallelujah. You're going to be in good hands. Everything's going to be okay. But this is when you pause, you follow instruction. It's not
Good
a
point.
rush thing, and you call escrow. Say,
Yeah.
I'm going to be wiring my money, and double confirm the account that you have had to been, because typically you have to go through the multi-factor authentication and call escrow to get the rest of the account. Okay.
Right.
So
Right.
he did that, and then looked at his email. He got an email saying, hey, we're closing escrow. Wire your money to this account. He got hacked. He freaked
Yeah.
out. He called escrow. They said, no, you wired it to the right place. But when he looked back at that email, he said, oh my God, it was totally janky and weird. And so,
Great.
when you're in that state of fear and like, oh my God, did I send it to the wrong place? It's like, you don't know, right?
Yeah.
But then you calm down, you're like, okay, send it to the right place. And you look back, you're like, holy
Go
smokes.
back old school, write
Yes.
call the right person and check with the right people to make sure that your money is safe. So thank you for that.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm Santi. I'm going to let you and Tracy continue with our audience. Make sure to ask people to give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. And Tracy, thank you very much for joining us. I will see you guys in a bit and continue with this amazing call. And thank you so much for joining us, Tracy.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you,
Yeah, I wanted to
Roxy. All
ask you
right,
because
Santi.
I'll take it on from
Now
here.
you're
But
on mute.
oh, you can't hear me?
I can't hear you, Santi.
Can you hear me now?
Where
No?
is the sound? No, I can't hear you. Can you hear me? Now I wonder what the listeners can hear. Hello,
Can you hear me now?
everybody.
There you go. Can you hear me now?
Oh yeah, I can hear you now.
There you go. There you
Oh,
go.
there we go.
Okay, perfect. I just had to jump out and jump back into the meeting, but I mean, I'll take it from here. But I wanted to ask you, yeah, I mean, kind of my generation, we're a little bit more don't like being on the phone and prefer to text everyone and not confirm. So you telling us this to make sure, give a call to escrow, relax, and so that you're not falling in these hacks.
That's right. Well, and my nephew is probably about your age, maybe just a couple years older.
Mhm.
So, but he, it's like when it comes down to it, it's worth it just to pause, relax, and focus,
Oh,
because
yeah.
the gentleman that I mentioned earlier, where his clients got hacked, they were rushing, they were in a hurry, and didn't pay close attention,
Yeah.
right? So that at the end of the day, you really want to do that, because escrow isn't paperwork, it is protection.
Yeah.
We are here to protect our clients, and our escrow officers are here to answer your questions. We have 4 offices here in San Diego. We're nationwide. Our escrow officers have been in the business. I marvel. They've been with TICOR anywhere from 15 to 35 years. And we're here to answer your questions, and no question is a stupid question. And what we like to do, we're all about being proactive when
Mhm.
it comes to escrow, Santi. So when you get that listing, when you and Roxanne get a new listing, as you know, we like to pre-open escrow. But even before going on the listing appointment, when you're like, okay, we're going on a listing appointment, what we like to do is provide you with net sheets at a couple different price points, so that then you can share that with the potential client and really show them, like, here's what it's going to take to close escrow, and here are the costs involved, and here's your end nugget that you're going to walk away with depending on the price. So it's super helpful in negotiating the price, right?
Definitely. Yeah, no, I mean, we always like putting that on front, of
Yes.
who we're working with. So
And then once you get the listing, you win the listing, hallelujah, congratulations. At that point, that's when we like to pre-open escrow. So what does that mean? That's where we work with title and get the preliminary title report. The escrow officer reviews that. I know you guys are reviewing that, because we want to see if there's anything that could hold up escrow, right? And that being a lien, a judgment, solar, just to name a few. So that really gives you the opportunity to work with the escrow officer to make sure that when you do officially open escrow, boom, you're off to the races, and there shouldn't be anything
good sales.
hanging you up, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So it's faster timelines, cleaner files, stronger negotiations. So it really is preparation in escrow equals power in negotiation too, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And then you had something else you wanted to touch base on, service that you could provide as well. Um, what is it?
Well, gosh, something that I love to do is meet with clients. Like I've met with you guys in teams and really share. So we have so many different resources
Yeah.
that I can share with you to help build your business and to be proactive in business. Um, and so it's it's building that relationship and that trust and rapport. And I love introducing you guys to the escrow officer so you have that connection. Because, things can get pretty entangled in escrow and the problem solving. And, you know, it's escrow experience isn't a luxury, it's a necessity, right? We're not just processing, we're protecting every deal.
Mhm.
So yeah, the net sheets, let's see, early deal consultation, use us before you go live. Really, closing isn't the end, it is the beginning.
Yeah. Well, these are all great points. These are amazing things that you do. I mean, we love
Thank
working
you.
with you all the time. So,
Well, we love working with you. We're so honored and grateful. Pemberley, the Pemberley Realty. I've known Roxanne for years. I've known you for a number of years,
yeah,
and what an incredible brokerage that you are. Everybody is so kind, and it really is. And this is how I feel about my team. Teamwork makes the dream work. And
yeah,
you guys are so team oriented. And I feel like, and that's how we are at TICOR Escrow Services. It really is teamwork makes the dream work. And that allows us all to be stronger and better and transparent, authentic, and supportive, because the real estate industry is a roller coaster.
yeah,
There's, one thing to expect is change.
yeah, definitely. So let me put your information here. So,
Thank you.
we have Tracy Hazy here, VP of Escrow Sales, TICOR Escrow Services. I'll go ahead and put your phone number in here as well. So,
Thank
if you have any
you.
questions, anything you guys need to ask, watching today or watching later
Oh,
on YouTube, give them.
yes. And one thing that I also do is I recruit escrow officers. We've got the best of the best. So I love recruiting escrow officers, escrow companies, and bringing them into the fold of TICOR Escrow Services, because the reason I'm here is the people, the expertise. We're a Fortune 300, 13 company with the financial strength. And I sleep really good at night knowing that you guys, you and your clients are protected, because we want to make sure you get paid. We want to make sure that the client's money comes in and is dispersed accordingly. So for everybody's dreams to come to fruition, right?
Yeah, definitely, definitely. And I'll go ahead and add Roxanne's number if you want to give Roxanne a call. It's right there. And then I'll put my own number here as well too. If you have questions on anything, feel free to reach out. Check us out on Instagram. I'll put our Instagram on here. We're always, you know, posting new, videos and houses that we have up. Facebook, here it is as well. And then our email. So, million places for you guys to reach out to us. Uh, you can check up our website too. I'll go ahead and put it up here real quick. I mean, it's at the bottom, but I'll go ahead and add it here too as well for a bit. But thanks everyone for watching. I mean, if you
Thank
have any
you.
questions, anybody that's watching, feel free to reach out to either us here at Pemberley Realty or to Tracy. We really appreciate you being here today, Tracy. Anything else you want to add before we head out?
Just going to say cheers to your success, everybody, whether you're a buyer, seller, or a real estate agent, or investor and broker attorney. You're in great hands with this team here, and we are here for you as a resource. So cheers to your success, and thank
Perfect.
you.
Perfect. Thank you, everybody, guys. I'll see you guys on the next one. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and reach out to us. So thank you, Tracy, and I'll
Thank
see
you.
you. See you
Happy
later.
Thursday. Bye for
Yep.
now.